All right. Well, so I think we should just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's
So
do it. You're in control of this one, sir.
I'm in control.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll give it a shot. But we're gonna talk about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other podcasts talking about it. Uh, Candace Owens. There's who else? Um, Ian Carroll.
Yep.
There's who's the third one that we listen to a lot?
Jesse on Fire. I kind of like him a little bit. There's another YouTuber um,
Gosh, my mind's going
goes
blank.
by the Coach.
Oh, Coach Colin.
Yeah, Coach
Yeah.
Colin. Yeah.
So we listen to him, and there's others. So there's Candace is probably the main one that has
Baron Coleman.
Baron Coleman, but Candace is the one that has a lot of theories.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go into the theories, kind of what I was wanting to do was talk about what law enforcement is alleging that happened.
Sure.
And so I think what I'm going to start off with is the PC affidavit, which is really the only report that we have access to, because they're not going to let go of all of the reports. They're not going to let go of all of the evidence into a court.
Right.
So that's kind of what we have to go on now. So I read through the probable cause affidavit. And so people kind of understand what that even is a probable cause affidavit is just going to list enough facts to establish probable cause for an arrest. So it's not going to list all of the details that would be enough to secure a conviction. So it's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay.
By any means. It's not even close to that. So all they want to do is when you arrest somebody, you want to have enough that you can hold them in jail, that the judge will read it and say, okay, yeah, they need to be here, that you were justified in making this arrest. So on September 10th, Charlie was hosting an event, and it was in Orem, Utah, at UVU University.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's kind of preparing, throwing hats out in the crowd, warming everybody up. And ultimately, he takes the stage and begins talking to people like he would normally do, which is basically he would take questions and he would answer, and they would kind of maybe have a little bit of a debate. Well, I think it was the second guest in, a shot rings out, or what sounded like a shot, according to law enforcement. And he is hit in the neck and he dies. So there was a UVU police officer, and this is according to the probable cause once again. I'm going to try and stick to that for right now. That is possibly even up on a roof somewhere. He's at least at a high point. He hears it and he begins to scan around, and he's looking for maybe where the shot rang out. And he's seen over across from the stage a rooftop that looked like it had a vantage point for maybe a sniper shot. And so he goes over there, he inspects the area where he believes maybe the shot came from, and he sees some scuff marks on the roof that might indicate that maybe somebody was there. Didn't find anything else. He didn't find, I think at one time they said there was a screwdriver that wasn't mentioned, and that they didn't find any shell casing. So,
Yeah, I remember them talking about finding the screwdriver.
yeah, and I think they've kind of gone back on that. I didn't see it anywhere in the PC affidavit. I've read two of them. There's actually two copies. It looks like maybe an earlier version, and then there's the version that was ultimately turned over to the court, I believe.
Okay.
And I'm kind of going off of the newest one because it had the most information. So from there, they go into looking at surveillance, and at the initial surveillance that they're looking at, they did notice that somebody was on a rooftop, and it was an individual wearing like a dark long sleeve shirt, some jeans, and they're running and they jump off the edge of a roof. So they begin looking further at some other surveillance. And what they see is an individual that's approaching the campus, and I believe it was from the north. And he walks across a parking lot. He comes up to the road that's by the university. And there's actually a tunnel that goes underneath the road. So he sits at the top of the stairs. He pulls a phone out with his right hand out of his right pocket. Looks like he does something on his phone. They don't state what. And he places the phone back in his pocket, goes underneath the road, reappears later on the north side of the building that the shot supposedly came from. They watch him walk around the building on the north side of that building to I believe it was the southeast corner. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was the southeast corner. Comes in through the doors, walks up the stairs, gets up on top the roof. There's kind of must be a common area or something up there. He's in the commons area, and there's like a short wall or a railing. And he crawls over this railing. Now, the whole while he's walking, they notice this kind of a limp. And according to the affidavit, they say it's consistent with maybe somebody having a rifle down their pants. Now, they didn't say that he did have a rifle. They're just saying it would be consistent that if somebody had a rifle down their pants, that they would probably limp like that. So, anyways, he goes over this railing and he kind of disappears for almost 5 minutes. Then all of a sudden, they see him running towards the edge of the roof. The limp no longer there. He's coming up towards the edge and he gets down kind of into a prone position and begins to crawl to the edge. And about 1 minute later, they hear what sounds like what would be the shot rang out.
Okay.
From there, he jumps up. He's running back to the opposite corner of the roof. And at this time, they describe that he's carrying now what they believe to be something that would be consistent with the rifle. Once again, consistent with the rifle. They don't say it is a rifle, but maybe something consistent with the rifle. He then jumps off the roof, seems to drop something. He picks it back up, kind of begins to take off at a run, and then slows to a walk, walks across the street, walks towards some trees and bushes, and disappears.
And this is the
So
video footage that we've kind of seen all
this
over
is the video
internet.
footage that we've seen so far.
Okay.
So they're using this video footage and they're trying to figure out if they can identify who this is. This would have been on the 10th. So on the 11th, Tyler Robinson's mom is seeing these images on TV. And she thinks, man, that kind of looks like my son.
As the story goes.
As the story goes.
Okay.
And so she contacts the dad and says, hey, doesn't this look like Tyler? And he says, it does. And by this time, they've also released images of the rifle that they believe was used, because they did, when they searched the area where he disappeared into those trees, find what they describe as a 30-06, a Mauser 98, wrapped in a towel. And so they have a picture of this rifle now that's being circulated through the media.
Right.
So the dad decides he's going to text Tyler and ask him where this rifle's at. He doesn't respond. Ultimately, he calls him. And at this time, Tyler says, yeah, I'm thinking about something to the effect of taking his own life. His dad talks him out of it. They talk to a neighbor friend that apparently was ex-law enforcement, I believe. And then that person talks him into turning himself into law enforcement. So law enforcement then conducts a search warrant. And of course, they speak to the parents. They speak to the family friend. And they speak to his roommate, which turns out to be his boyfriend, girlfriend.
His furry friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the friend kind of shares some text messages and a note. Now, something else they found, when they found the rifle, they found one spent cartridge in the chamber, because this is a bolt action rifle. So unlike an AR-15, when you pull the trigger, it would expend the round with the bolt action. It doesn't until you work the bolt. So they found an empty cartridge still in the rifle, and then they found 3 cartridges that were unfired. And on each one of the cartridges, there were some engravings. And
Yeah.
these engravings are, I'm not going to read them. Everybody's heard them, but
Right.
apparently they're consistent with, oh, sayings off of a video game, lyrics in a song like the Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao.
Yeah, and all of this information that you've said is all in this report.
Yeah, and it's a little more detailed. Like I'm kind of skipping through it. There's maybe some
Did they
fine details.
describe kind of what they're seeing in this like you did in this report?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So this is what they're
Yeah.
saying. So anyways, they talked to the roommate, the boyfriend, and he shares some of these text messages. And so some of them go like, oh, let me see if I can find one of these. Something to the effect of, hey, have you seen what's going on? That was me, so on and so forth. Everybody's also seen all of
Yeah.
these
Yeah. Those are the
text
ones that
messages.
got leaked. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now ultimately he's in custody, and that's kind of the story they're going with. I assume, I think they probably have more, probably surveillance that they haven't released. They've probably released what they feel was necessary, because now that they have him caught, and one thing that I kind of disagree with, I wish they would, if they have a little bit more, just let a little bit more, especially with all of the theories that people are coming up with.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now that I've kind of gone through the story,
Now that you've set the scene.
Yes. So the thing that's kind of getting scrutinized with podcasters, with their theories, is basically they're just questions, because they're seeing things that don't make sense.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to point out some things that I don't think really make sense.
Yes. Okay.
So let me see if I can share my screen here. And I hope this works. And we'll start with this one right here. So I hope everybody can see this. And I might have to kind of go back and forth here. So this is the first picture. Now this is when he's coming down the stairs
Mm-hmm.
Into that tunnel. I believe that's coming out of the parking lot, goes under the road. And what they're saying is the rifle is actually stuffed down his pants. That's why
As he's going in.
As he's going in, yeah. So, and they're saying that it's actually coming down his right leg. So it would be this straight leg here, and this
Mhm.
is the leg. Actually, I've seen some video where he does have. They call it a gait.
Sure.
It's a a limp.
Yeah.
For lack of.
It's the way he walks.
It's the way he walked.
Yeah.
So, and what they describe is that he just can't. He can't straighten out this leg here,
You mean bend?
or he can't really bend it.
Yeah.
So it stays for the most part straight. So as I'm going through the pictures, and these pictures, by the way, these come right from the FBI's website.
Okay.
These aren't pictures that I stole online somewhere else. So
Gotcha.
this is right from their site. Anybody can go see these. So once again, you can see here, this is his left leg, clearly bent. Right leg is straight.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of consistent with what they were talking about in the video. Now I have a question.
Okay, I was just gonna say, are they
So
just showing those pictures, or are there? But
And here's
no,
the thing.
this
Case in
is still
point,
on their
there's-
site now.
okay.
Oh boy.
Now I'm going to show some other pictures, but I noticed that now his leg is bent, and it's bent pretty good.
Yeah.
So now initially they said that there was a screwdriver, at least somebody did. There was a screwdriver on the roof, and maybe he disassembled the rifle so it's in 2 pieces, which would make it shorter. And it would be a little bit shorter, but maybe not as short as you think.
I was just even thinking about the logistics of going upstairs if you have a rifle in your pant leg. you can't really go up. You can go down with a straight leg, but you can't really go up.
Oh, trust me, we're getting there.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm shoot.
We're getting there. This is so. Like I said before, this is why. I mean, I have questions because I'm familiar with rifles.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
when I saw the picture of the rifle, and he described it as not a rare rifle, but a unique rifle. And the way the rifle looked to me wasn't necessarily unique, but I also mess
Maybe
with rifles.
was it
And
pink? I can't remember.
it wasn't. No, it was kind of like
okay.
maybe a green gray. It's hard to tell
Yeah,
just from
it
the
was
picture they took.
unique.
But it was a Mauser 98. Um, but when I first heard it was a Mauser 98, and then I seen the picture, it wasn't what I was picturing in my head, especially when they said that the rifle was unique. So, but anyways, I went through some of the pictures. Once again, he's wearing this backpack, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's kind of coming down his leg here. I can't really tell. The pictures aren't the greatest. The backpack looks like it's probably a standard size backpack. It's nothing crazy. This isn't like
Yeah.
you're going hiking in the mountains and you got your tent and your
Right.
sleeping bag and everything in there.
Looks like a normal college.
It looks like a normal bag. So I had to try it.
Oh,
now,
like, who is that?
Yes. Now, I just want to point out that Disney is in no way a sponsor of this podcast.
Oh, gosh.
But at the time, it was the closest bag to me.
Gotcha.
So what I actually did is the first time, I actually have a rifle that's about the same dimensions, and we're going to get into that. And I broke it down. I removed the stock. So one thing I did hear from other videos is, he couldn't have taken the rifle apart because you'd have to be a gunsmith and you have to take tools. Now that's true if you remove the barrel from the receiver. But you can break down a rifle such as the one that they had pictured, and I'm going to show that later, without taking the barrel off of the receiver. The barrel and receiver be in one piece, and you can take 2 screws out and the receiver will separate from the stock.
Okay.
With the barrel attached. So, but I had to try it. So this is actually a picture of me with a rifle down my pants. And you can see it just stops right about my knee. It's actually a scoped rifle too. And then it kind of comes up my back. But I don't have the stock with me, not in this picture. And as you can kind of, see a little bit. I mean, it's actually fairly concealed, minus the scope that's sticking right there out from underneath my bag. And then once again, you can really kind of make it out here.
Yeah.
So now, granted, in the pictures they had, they were pretty grainy, so you couldn't tell. Maybe it was apparent. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But in the pictures I took, you can definitely see where the barrel is coming down. You can kind of see the maybe a part of the barrel in the scope before it gets to the receiver. So anyways, just some profile. So this is going to be about the rifle, just to give people an idea of what we're dealing with dimension-wise. So we're talking about, it's a Mauser 98. And when you see this barrel length, this is just the barrel detached from the receiver. So it's 23 inches. The receiver itself is probably another 8. And he actually wouldn't have been able to detach that. So the people that said, well, you couldn't do that without a gunsmith. Well, you can't, but you don't have to. The rifle itself, though, is actually probably 44 to 46 inches long. So, and that's total length, and that's what the rifle put together. So now this is what I was talking about when I first heard it was a Mauser 98 from World War II. I keep hearing people say World War I, but World War I, whatever. But this would be like an old school Mauser 98. And this is actually what I pictured.
Does Mauser come from the word muzzle?
I'm sure it comes from whoever built the rifle.
Gotcha.
Initially.
Okay.
It's like a brand. So anyways, this would be what I pictured as a Mauser 98. This is not what they recovered. This is what they recovered.
Oh.
So this would be like a sporterized version.
Yeah.
But a Mauser 98. Mauser is actually probably going to be the action.
Gotcha.
Which is going to be this part of the rifle. So this is what I was talking about, would be the receiver in action right here. The barrel is actually attached to that with a barrel nut. You'd have to be a gunsmith to detach this part, this long barrel, from this part where you see like your bolt and where you would actually chamber and rechamber.
Yeah, I don't even see how that's feasible taking that thing apart.
Well, you can. And it comes in two pieces. So this would be the stock version. And the reason I'm showing this is I want to give people an idea of some dimensions on how long the
How
rifle
big it
is.
is. Yeah.
So this would be like kind of a stock, an old wood stock from a Mauser, and its overall length is about 31.5 inches long. They do make sporterized versions that are about 29.5. But anybody with a tape measure, if you pull it out 29.5 inches, that's still pretty long.
Close to a yard.
Yeah. So once again, this is his rifle. This is the rifle that I used. Now, this is not a Mauser. This is actually just a 308, and it's a Mossberg. It's a different brand, but the reason I use it is because it is 44 inches from the tip of the barrel. And even though this says 45 here, the photo was taken at an angle. It's actually 44 inches in length. And I wanted to see how this would look. So once again, there's his stock. That'd be a wooden stock. This is with the stock taken off.
Okay.
And you can do this with just 2 screws.
Okay. Still.
And
When
we're getting to the point I'm about to make here.
I know, no, but this helps me as a non-hunting female that when they say take the gun apart, I'm thinking it's taking the gun apart like you take I don't know, some type of appliance apart or to travel with, I'm thinking it's coming into 2 equal pieces or 3 equal pieces, and makes it compact.
It's basically 2. So when you take the screws out, I don't know why I snuck this back in here. I think maybe just to show his bag, and actually where this bag, I want to point out where it stops on his back. So this is kind of halfway down his shoulder blades. So initially they said they broke the rifle down and maybe had the stock in the backpack. I took this picture just to show that stock is not going to fit in a backpack.
Right.
No way. This is a normal sized backpack and half is still exposed. So there's no way, even at an angle, that you could fit that in a backpack. Couldn't be done.
No.
And so, but I have heard that now the FBI has retracted that. I don't know if the FBI and law enforcement initially are the ones that said it was broke down. Somebody did. But now they're saying, no, he never took it apart. So I put it back together and I shoved it down my pants again.
Boy, it's really shoving up to your shoulder, isn't it?
It is. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but he might be about 6'2". I'm only 5'8". So he would have had 4 inches on me. So it might have been down to here, which is possible.
Okay.
What you can't see is this barrel is down here. And I know I probably still got scratches on the lower part of my calf where this thing was rubbing. But if you can kind of see the scope here too. So with a 44-inch rifle on a guy that's 5'8" anyway, the stock is going to be clear up to the shoulder, not concealing that very well. And the barrel is all the way down here, just about to my ankle. And then you can kind of really, anytime I bend it all, it really pops out. So you can see.
Oh, sure.
It's actually popped out here. It's popped out up here towards my shoulders. And it actually, it's kind of hard to see, but it actually is kind of pressing against my jeans towards the bottom. And here I put a backpack on just to see if I could cover it up. You can still kind of see it there, but it does here on the back of the leg. If you bend in the slightest.
Well, sure, because now you've got pressure from the backpack that's pressing on the top. So it's naturally going to make the bottom part.
Yes, it's not.
Out. Yeah.
The barrel ain't going to bend. It's not hinged.
Right.
So even if he is 6'2", it's still going to be resting against the back of his his leg.
Yeah.
So, and now you mentioned, gosh, going up and downstairs, that'd be difficult. Well, actually, before you got here, I was trying it and I actually went into the basement because I had to retrieve this backpack. I ditched the Disney one.
Yeah, this one's a little more
Yeah.
appropriate for what
Yeah.
we're
Yeah. But this is actually probably bigger than the backpack that he wore.
Yeah, I would say so.
This is more of a hunting backpack, and this would be, maybe what you would go hiking with. And I mean, you could put all kinds of things in here, but you still couldn't fit that stock in here if it was
No.
broke down. So the only way he was getting that rifle up there was in one piece. There was, unless he took it in half and he shoved both pieces down his pants, but then he's going to be limping with both legs.
Mhm.
And I don't know how you walk with it. Can you do a two-legged gait? That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's gonna, no.
So that was the first question I had. Now, does it make it impossible? Could he have done it and maybe nobody noticed? I mean, it's possible, but it was definitely a question I had, is like, if it was down his pants, I mean, how would he walk at all? He would have to go
How's he getting up
upstairs.
the stairs? How's he going over the railing? How's he doing all of this?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
How did he get over the railing?
Right.
So they saw him come over the wall of the railing before he disappeared and apparently had taken this thing out. But how did he crawl over it? Because I had a hard enough time going up and down stairs. If I would have had to actually lift my leg over something, I don't think I could have done it. It wouldn't have been possible because I'd have had to move my leg, either one of them, at an angle at some point, and it wasn't going to move.
If people can test this theory at home, just go unscrew your broomstick off the end and stick the broomstick down your pants and see how well you move.
Yeah. And actually, that's probably going to be easier because with a rifle, you're going to have the width of the stock of the rifle. And I don't know where
Was he ever asked how long he had been planning this?
Yeah. So he started planning this. This is his own words to his roommate, about a week before the event. So
I was just wondering if he
and he had
practiced
Going
walking
up and
to make
down.
it look like it's
and this
there's
is
nothing in his
and this is all in his text messages, because he even mentioned how hey, did you remember when I was engraving those bullets?
Yeah.
Which is another question. Maybe it's normal for him. I know that his family is a conservative family, and they do have firearms, and he has some experience with firearms. But mind you, he's like 21 years old. So he doesn't have like extensive experience with a rifle.
He does not seem like the stereotypical hunting child.
No, probably not.
How
Not
do I
really.
say that?
And,
I don't know how to say that politically correct, but yeah, he does. That's not the stereotype.
and maybe at one time he was, and maybe because his family said that over the course of the last year or so that he became more and more, they described it as left wing. So he became more pro-gay, pro-trans, ultimately was dating and living with his trans boyfriend, who I don't know if was in the process of transitioning or what. Supposedly. But so that was kind of one of my questions, which was
the logistics of it.
Yeah, I mean, how did he get there with this rifle? And is it possible? I guess my ultimate conclusion, it's possible, but
it's not going to be as easy as they described it in their report of what they witnessed.
I think it would have been a little more difficult because also it took me and Marissa to get that rifle down my pants, by the way. And he supposedly did this by himself. So he would have had to also think about this, get out of a vehicle at some point with the rifle not down his pants. That means he had to put the rifle down his pants outside of the vehicle. And even if he ran into the bushes and put it down his pants, he had to carry the rifle to the bushes, which, I mean, is still possible. Marissa, you look like you were going to say something.
It took both of us to get the rifle out of your pants.
That's true. And I
so he would have
now
almost had to completely undress to.
Now he was behind that wall for like 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, you probably.
Well, maybe he did undress in 5 minutes.
So he probably could have got it out of his pants. But that's just one question on this whole deal. I've got a lot more. So now I want to get into.
Let's go into your next.
Yes, which is going to be the the alleged shot itself. So this is Charlie Kirk sitting on stage, and I'm not going to play a video. I just have screenshots that I took,
Right.
and I'm not going to show anything gory. So if YouTube or anybody, just so they don't take it down. And actually, I didn't need to for what I was wanting to show.
Yeah.
So as I was watching the video, I watched it a bunch of times, and I would watch it frame by frame. Now, this was probably taken with a cell phone. It was probably taken at 24 frames per second. So 24 frames is all you're going to get out of each second of video.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to break it down into almost 24 frames. I think I got 20. So I must have skipped a couple, but it isn't going to matter. So you can see Charlie sitting here. He's holding his mic. This right here above the F on freedom, this little black thing is a magnet on the back of a wireless mic. And I think I got one here. Hold on. I do. I'm not going to grab it. But anyway, so
I'm not on camera.
Just take your headphones off.
You actually are on camera. This is actually a split screen, but you just can't see it. I think anyway. Yeah, just don't. Nope.
No?
See that gray box?
This one.
That one.
Just don't trip on the cords.
But look around. Is there a bigger box that looks like this? This
No.
is my small set. That's fine.
It's not out here.
No.
Yeah. So just don't trip over the cords as you go back through. This would be a really, really small version of what he's wearing, just so people can maybe see. And I'm going to go back to my regular screen here. I'm going to shut off this for just a second.
Figure out the equipment.
So this, if anybody can see that, is probably the black you see. It's just a magnet.
Hold it right
here.
I can hardly see it.
You got to YouTube it, Mike.
Yeah, you got to put
Is that how they do that?
Put it in front of my hand.
Be the influencer.
Like just okay.
To teach
Or
you.
like Miss, like that peach lady. The peach lady does this.
I think they might get it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's pretty little.
So let me go back to this.
You have a bigger one, yeah.
Yeah, this one's
It's
little.
exactly
This
like-
one's tiny.
Yeah, that's what I normally hear. So anyways, he's actually got the mic is on the inside of the shirt. The magnet is on the outside.
That's interesting because I would have assumed it would be opposite.
Yeah, well, sometimes they wear the mic on the inside just to kind of hide the mic. It'll still record just fine.
Interesting.
So let me put this back in here. And then the other thing I want to point out is just the shirt itself. So he's seated, he's holding his mic. The shirt is laid flat against his chest. You can see freedom is pretty much straight across, and he's got the magnet on the mic is just above the F. And what I was paying attention to was the shirt at the moment of the bang.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll kind of go through this frame by frame and just watch his shirt. Mic is down. And there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go from here to here in the direction of the shirt. Now, he shot in the side of his neck over here. That's at least where the wound was. So they're alleging that he was shot here. And what I'm trying to get past is when I watch this video is, why does everything flow up? And it starts down here. If you watch these creases, they disappear. Boom, they're gone. And you can see there's this bulge. Now, something else I want to point out. His face is pretty clear. Obviously, he's got, the 3 o'clock shadow thing going. Now, all of a sudden, there's this blur. Now, I don't know if this is a motion blur. It's possible. But his whole body, this is moving. This part of his head's moving. It's not blurred.
I was going to say his
arms are
the whole
moving.
thing would be blurred if it was him.
Something else I want to point out here. If someone says, well, that's obviously motion blur. You can read freedom here. You can read freedom here. And look at how far this rose from here to there, how quickly. His face only goes from here to here, but all of a sudden it's blurred. So my question is that a motion blur? Or is that something else? Is it like what would be put off like a mirage from some sort of a blast. I don't know.
See, when I was trying to describe it uh, to Parker, I was telling him what you were working on. I described it as like a heat wave.
Kind of, yeah.
So, like when you see heat, like if you have your oven, if you're cooking something, you open your oven, you can kind of see a heat wave, correct? Right?
Could be. And
Or
actually,
even like you said, the mirage, or when you're driving on a hot summer day down the highway and you see you can kind of almost see your heat wave in the.
if you ever watch a video of like the blast radius around a bomb, and you can actually in slow motion you can see that blast radius as it expands out, and it looks like a mirage or a blur
Uh-huh.
as it goes.
Hmm.
And so that's what I noticed. And I thought, well, that's weird. But I also noticed that the shirt really jumps up. Even his collar jumps up. And I thought, well, maybe it's his necklace. But once again, why would his necklace jump up? Like he's going like this, he's arching his back. But that doesn't explain why everything from his belt line up travels up. It doesn't travel out. It doesn't even travel into him because there's still a puff right here. It's going up. And then in this picture, something else goes up. Look at his hair. Look at his hair here. Shirt's up. So I'll go back even one more. This is before.
Huh.
This is the shirt's coming up. You got that little blur on his face.
Oh, now his hair's blown up.
Now his hair's blowing up.
And there's a bigger arch in his shirt.
Not back. And yeah, the arch in his shirt is once again, everything is going up. Everything's moving up. Even this microphone, which was down here, is now up.
Uh-huh.
Now it's starting to come back down. It's starting to relax. You can still see a bit of his mic. There's still a little bit of a blur on his face. But I would also point out that this is moving just as fast, but it's moving further than his face is. It's not blurred. I can still read freedom. And then all of a sudden, the speck here. But there's something missing.
Oh, yeah. The mic
appears to be gone. Now, is it possible that it folded under his shirt a little bit? Maybe a piece of his shirt is concealing it. It is possible. You can kind of see something here. And then as I continue on, and I'm not going to show any of the gory stuff, I promise you. That's about as gory as it gets right here. And then it goes over, and then of course I blur it out. But I don't see
No,
the
it's
mic.
gone.
Yeah. His hand is in the way here, but just to go through, you can kind of see as I go through the slides, the motion. I would also point out something else. Look at the time at the bottom. Here we're at 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. And it continues on 6 as I go through. So this is all within a second.
That's a good thing to point out because
before I hit the 7.
Yep.
I'm at slide 47. This starts at slide 30. So that's 17 slides. So I'm probably short a couple within, if it's a 24 frame per second camera.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing I wanted to point out is the fact that everything is moving up. Even this mic, look at this. These mics aren't light. And the mic he's using is bigger than my mic.
Right.
So it's heavier. And so if that's traveling up to his neck, why is everything, even that has weight, why is it traveling up? Now, I'm not suggesting, I know there's a theory that there's, some sort of a bomb or something in the mic. And I have a question about that too, is once that bomb were to go off, I would think it would jettison this magnet pretty quicker than like I
what
would think
it's
it'd be
doing.
gone there. But the other thing I noticed is even as his shirt relaxes, I don't see any damage to the shirt either. So that was my other question is if the bomb is under the shirt, I don't see any damage to the shirt. I don't see a tear. I don't see anything. I don't see any burn. I see nothing, which makes me think maybe it was on something on the outside. But what doesn't make sense is the fact that he was shot from an upward angle. Now, remember, he's actually down. He's in like a kind of like a pit.
Right.
And the supposed shooter is up on a roof. So you've got a pretty decent angle and it's about 160 yards away. So that shot would be down. So even if I heard someone say, well, maybe just the bullet going by into his neck caused like a draft. Well, that would push it down. It wouldn't suck it up.
And to me, the angle would how would he get to his left side of his neck?
Yeah, if
The
this was a
angle is
bomb
not
here,
right.
how would it come around and
Yeah,
hit?
to me, it would have to go around a corner almost.
Yeah,
It just doesn't make sense.
so I don't know. I don't know if, you know, once again, this is just a question. I don't know. It hasn't been court. Maybe they're going to present evidence and testimony that proves that it was a rifle. But I ain't done with that rifle yet. But it doesn't make sense that it flows up.
Right.
So, but I have another question. So anybody that's familiar with, because they did say this was a 30-06, and I know they've kind of beat this over the head.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what you do with a 30-06. There is no way Charlie Kirk's neck is stopping a 30-06. And I don't care if they use a hollow point. I don't care. They've brought up frangible rounds. A frangible round would probably be almost worse because the whole back of his neck would be gone. I've seen a frangible round go through a slab of meat with a giant bone in it. The spine is not a giant bone. It's actually, I think, fairly soft. It's not like super, super hard. In the neck itself isn't like, I mean, you have your throat in there, your larynx or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a windpipe in there.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat hollow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to disintegrate. It's going to destroy it. It's going to be gone. But there's no pass through. Now, the one picture I didn't get was a picture that Candace Owens posted that she'd gotten. It was from the backside of Charlie, and there is no damage to the backside of Charlie.
Right. One
thing that she did, or somebody pointed out, is there was some funny marks on the backside of his hands. And I wish I had that picture so I could point that out because they almost look like a powder burn. Now, was it a powder burn? Don't know. Once again, it's just another question I have is where did those come from? Some of it did look like blood splatter, but there was some red dots mixed with some almost gray that clearly did not appear to be blood. I don't know what that was.
Do you think he had something like attached to his waistband, his belt, something that was tucked under his shirt that could have projected upward like that?
I got to be honest.
Or could it have been his necklace that would have? Where do we think this puff of air is originating from?
I don't know.
Is it down here? Is it mid chest? Is it? I don't know.
I don't know either. But so those were my kind of main questions that I had that, some of it I could make sense of. Is it possible that a kid is so mad at somebody that he's going to take a pot shot at him? Yes. Could somebody sneak up to a roof and do something like that? Yeah. Could they do it with a rifle stuffed down their pants and that rifle's 44 inches long? Probably going to be way more difficult. So I would say it would be tough. When they shoot him, is that how your body's going to react? Probably not.
No.
Is it going to make a hole like that? Probably not. It's going to be much more gruesome. And for the life of me, I cannot get past that.
Right. One of the theories that, one of the YouTubers had, I think it's John Bray, he was describing the theory of the exploding microphone and thought that it, maybe was off centered or something and a piece of it came off and
Sure.
got his
And
neck.
I can see that because they also brought up somebody did photos of the inside of the SUV after they had
Yeah.
carried Charlie away, and there was bits of plastic that were on the floorboard,
Yeah.
and nobody knows what that is.
Right.
But once again, I think people kind of come after, whether it be Candace or whether it be um, Ian or whether it be um, any of them. I wish I could think of the one guy's name I keep forgetting, and I watch him more than anybody, and I feel like such an ass.
Valhalla.
No, 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 no.
Baron Coleman.
Baron Coleman. And I mean, they kind of give those guys a raft of crap, all of them, for these conspiracy theories. And I don't think that a lot of what they're doing is a conspiracy theory. They're just asking questions. And if you look at any crime podcast, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
That's what every law enforcement officer does. They ask questions and then they look for an answer. And in this case, we're not there and we're not also getting the answers. And I don't expect law enforcement to come out and give me these answers right away. I'm really anxious to see the trial. I hope they televise it. Maybe I'll get some of these questions answered, but there's some of them that I struggle with.
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot.
obviously it's because of the narrative that they put out to us. And then even you even have Erica Kirk coming on and saying, yes, she believes he was shot by Tyler Robinson. And it's just that everybody can kind of see and come to the conclusions that, that's not really a good theory to, go 10 toes deep on, because look at all of these people that are saying, yeah, this doesn't smell right.
No,
This does not look right.
and so
It's not possible.
I had one more with Tyler Robinson himself, and I'll see if I can pull this up.
Well,
I'm
and
gonna-
I wanted to,
gonna
before,
try.
when you pull that up, I was going to bring up that, I did, whether this is true or not, I did see that his supposed autopsy said that he did have fractures of the vertebrae from like C1 to T1. Now, whether that's his actual autopsy, I don't know. But when you hear that his neck, his vertebrae is fractured from C1 to T1, that's all the C spines down.
Mhm.
It's easy. It's simple for somebody to say, "Oh, well, broken means shattered into pieces." Well, no, not necessarily. If you have a hairline fracture of your vertebrae, they're going to say the bone is broken. I could see from that angle of his neck, that twerk to the side, if it went that quickly within a second,
Mhm.
his neck was bent like that. That to me is a whiplash, and I would think that could easily fracture the vertebrae of the C vertebrae.
I could see that. I'd also like to see the condition of his sternum and his ribs,
Mm-hmm.
because it did look like there was some force in, but still most of it up. I don't know. The whole upward thing is what I can't get out. But I did see his neck come down, and I agree that people, when they get in accidents and they get whiplash, they do. Heck, my dad fell. He just fell to the ground. He didn't hit his head. He just fell, and just his head doing,
Like
a
the
bob, a
bounce,
quick
yeah.
bounce. He ended up fracturing a vertebrae.
Mm-hmm.
What? Did you see something? You're watching something on TV. Oh, geez. That would be my producer watching TV.
I'm preparing for the basketball game, and
Okay.
I just watched the Wisconsin-Minnesota, and Minnesota tied it up with 2 seconds, and Wisconsin just beat them
Oh my!
with 2 seconds.
Wisconsin beat who?
Minnesota.
Okay. Anyways, back to what we're doing. I'm gonna try and show something. I don't know if this is gonna work. This is the FBI's website, and I'll see if it'll play. It is going to play. So this is the other question I have when it comes to Tyler Robinson, and it's when they're pointing out that he's running across the roof and he has what they say is consistent with the rifle. And this is probably going to be tough to see, and I don't know that I can zoom in. Once again, this is right from the FBI's website. This isn't
Saying that the rifle is in his pants?
no.
No?
This is when he's leaving. So they're
Oh,
saying the
okay.
rifle is in his hand. And I'm going to try, and that ain't going to work very good. So when I'm watching him come off this roof, he's going to have something black, a mass in his hand. And I'll play it right there. Back it up right there. And they're saying that that is a rifle. Now I can see
You need a pointer to point on that screen. There
right
you go.
here. They're
Yeah.
saying this is a rifle. Now it does look
Isn't
like
that-
it's maybe a towel, and it is possible. I just want
Is
to
that
point
his
out.
bag, his backpack?
Could be. I don't know. The image is so poor. And if there was a barrel sticking out of here, it is likely you probably wouldn't see the barrel. But I want you to pay attention to this black mass the entire time he climbs down, jumps, and then he begins to take off running. And I'll probably have to back this up a couple times and play it. Watch how it flops around. So there he kind of swings it over. There he hits the ground. Now watch when he picks it up. See how it swings there? Watch when he first picks it up. See how, you see that? Watch right in here. Watch this black thing. It'll kind of swing like this.
Mm-mm.
And then look how he's carrying it right here. He's carrying it like you just like you're
there's-
carrying a bag and you're taking off running. And look at it
that rifle
swing.
would be way too big for it to swing like that. Correct?
Well,
Am I thinking right?
a rifle is pretty rigid. And at this point, I mean, he's just running around with this thing flopping around like, to me, where is he even covering it? I don't see it.
Uh-uh.
And so then this video continues. I think they'll show this coming one more time. And once again, paying attention to this bag or towel or rifle, whatever it supposedly it is, and how it kind of flops around.
Did he have a sweatshirt on in the first pictures?
I don't think so. But see how it's just flopping around. Nothing's wrapped. And you would think there's other people here. There's people in a car here. Nobody notices. That's weird. See how it's kind of swinging? It's just swinging with his leg. I'd also like to point out, it looks like he has a gait. And that rifle, watch when he starts walking. Look at his walking. See the gait?
But he limped when he jumped off. If you watch after he jumps off, when he gets up, he's
Let's
like
look.
limping like
Like he
So-
hurt his
he hurt his
ankle.
leg. Yeah, like
So
Like he hurt his ankle
the
jumping
gait
off.
that they were talking about before, is it something that he had? I don't know. We'll watch again as he gets up. He begins to walk.
see he
Oh, yeah.
kind of limps there like
And you don't see what, after they play this, it'll go back to the walking again. But yeah, I think I did see an initial limp, like a gait. And when he slows down,
And he's trying to hide it. That is
whatever, he's just kind of,
ankles.
you can't zoom in.
no. So, but he'll start walking here. Look how he's walking.
It's too far away for me to see.
I would encourage anybody to go to the FBI's website and just look at it. It's not a normal walk. There's a bit of a gait. Now he's kind of walking normal, but he's just walking across the street. So that was the other thing that I kind of questioned. Let me get over here. So, anyways, that was everything that I had, with Robinson himself and with the rifle.
Yeah. The
But-
math ain't mathin'.
Not too good. Not for me anyway. So I don't know that I had anything else for slides. Let me see. Nope, that's the end of that slide.
At
So
one point, I think it was Baron Coleman had pointed out that in maybe it was him, I can't remember. There's so many that I watched. Had pointed out that they had seen something fly up
yes.
to the ceiling of that tent.
Yeah, and I meant to take screenshots of that and add that, but anybody can go back and you'd have to find the podcast that Baron talks about. But yeah, you can see something small in color. I don't know if it's black or gray or whatever, but it looks like it kind of goes flying through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could that have been the magnet off the microphone? Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Could it have been a piece of debris from something else? Also possible. These are, again, questions we don't know, but they raise a question
And then
that doesn't seem
so
consistent
let's
as in law enforcement terms.
let's say it was the magnet from the microphone.
hmm
How much force would it take for that magnet to fly off?
Well, I kind of tested that too. So I have he wears a Rode mic, and a Rode mic is maybe a little bit bigger than the DJI mics that I have. Hold on. Excuse me. Anyways, so I put one of those mics on, and Marissa and I were in the house, and I was kind of flinging my shirt around trying to knock it off, and I couldn't. And then I even had Marissa grab the mic, and I had the mic on the outside just so we had something to grab onto. And I said, pull this thing off my shirt and see how hard it is to pull off. And she couldn't get it to let go until my shirt was stretched out as far as it would go to where I couldn't stretch any farther. And then she had to still apply pressure before it popped off. So they stay on pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just going to fall off.
Well, I'm sorry. I just don't feel like a bullet, him getting shot, is going to blow his microphone off or the magnet off, or
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Even
or cause that motion in his shirt, or cause the heat wave blurring effect that you see. I don't think that's coming from a bullet.
I don't think so either. That's why I don't buy any of that.
But like I said, I'm just I don't know anything
So am
about
I.
guns,
I mean,
so I
I've
would
shot a
know,
lot of,
but to
even
me,
though I've shot a lot of guns, I've never shot a person, but I know how things react when they do get shot. And I know enough that if you're shot at an angle from forward, and a bullet is traveling fast, we're talking about 2,000 feet per second, that when it hits you, it's going to pierce through you like through butter. I mean, it's just like nothing. It's not going to affect your clothing. You watch movies and people get shot and they fly backwards. That doesn't happen. You shoot somebody. There's times where they don't even realize they've been shot.
they don't move. Yeah.
So
I'm watching the video. He runs across the roof just fine, like nothing. So I think his limp is from jumping. And to me, it looks like he still has the backpack on. And he's carrying like a hoodie or a towel or something.
and it could be a towel.
But it
Mhm.
looks like
Because
he
wasn't there a
has
towel found?
There was a towel found. So this was this was just a theory. Once again, this is a theory just based on what I observe through videos, things that are available to us.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Right.
thought, well, is it possible that he initially had that rifle with him? He kind of maybe chickened out, or he thought, I'm going to go check this out first. And he left the rifle in the bushes after he went through the tunnel, goes over, dumps it in the bushes, then goes up on the roof, sees what goes on, freaks out, thinks, oh shit, I got to get out of here, runs across the roof, jumps off the roof, has a towel that was maybe in his backpack. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. These are all just, once again, they're all questions, but nothing makes any sense. The dots aren't connecting for me, at least with the narrative that we have. Now, are they going to maybe connect some of those dots in court? Possibly. I don't know. But at least from the information that's available to myself and everybody else who's asking questions, then none of this adds up.
Yeah. I mean, I
So
think he was a paid actor that said, "Okay, you're
that
gonna go
very
here
well
at
could be.
this time, and you're gonna go across the roof at this time, and stay here for a little while, and then all of a sudden, then we need you to get out of there fast."
Well, this isn't going to be our last episode on the Charlie Kirk thing, because I think we're going to have a lot more. I want to follow up
Yeah.
with some of its theories, and some of it is stuff that's actually happening now. Does it does it mean it's actually connected to the shooting itself? Not necessarily, but it does look like there's some things going on behind the scenes that
Mm-hmm.
is weird. And you saw something tonight.
Well, I listened to Candace Owens' episode tonight, and of course, this is recorded on January 13th. So I don't know when we're going to post this episode, or when you're going to post this episode. But tonight's episode, she talked about somebody that we talked about
Sure.
in our last few episodes, which is this Satanist Colonel Michael Aquino.
And before anybody shuts the podcast off, I was like, oh God, here we go with the Satanist stuff. I have some slides.
You do?
Yes. So
yeah. Well, anyway, Michael Aquino we found out, mentioned in our Franklin cover-up case. He was mentioned by one of the survivors of the MK Ultra, who testified that apparently or allegedly Michael Aquino was the one who was the head of Project Monarch and had these kids in this Project Monarch and was doing mind control and yada, yada, yada. You can go listen to the previous episodes.
How about I pull up a couple of slides and I'll let you explain who these people are.
Yes, do.
And this will maybe help you tell a little bit of what we might have coming.
Perfect.
So we'll start with this slide. You recognize anybody in that slide?
I sure do.
Which individual?
Well, let's say Paul Valley. Paul Valley.
This guy right here?
Yeah, right there.
Huh. What do you suppose he did?
Well, I know what he did. I don't know if our listeners do, but
well, let's explore what he did. So what I'm on is the Turning Point on their website, and this is one of their boards. It's their it's an advisory board within Turning Point, and these are people on that board. So this is Paul Valley, and he was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell the story too. Or do you just want me to tell it?
We go ahead.
Okay.
I just know who he was affiliated with.
Okay. So he's in the United States military, and he's involved with the 7th PSYOP group with the 351st Civil Affairs Command. But he also works with this PSYOP of mind war. This it's like maybe a report or something of that effect. It's something that was put out by him and another individual, Michael Aquino, founder of a Satanist Temple of Set. Well, who's Michael Aquino? Well, this is Michael Aquino. Looks like a really nice guy. I really dig. I'm going to work on getting my eyebrows like that. You see his eyebrows?
Yeah.
They are awesome.
Not so much.
I really like it. So yeah, he's also in the military, which I thought was weird. Of course, maybe the military has to look past what a person's religion is. But yeah, his religion happens to be Satanism, but not like normal Satanism. So he belonged to a normal Satanist church, but it turns out those Satanist churches aren't Satanists.
Satan
enough. Yes, because they don't believe that Satan is a thing. He's like, basically like their mascot, but he's not a real being or a real spirit. He's just kind of like, something else. I don't know. But he disagreed with that because he thought, nope, Satanist is a real thing, person, like God.
Like God.
And so he did like some sort of a seance or whatever, and he summoned Satan, and Satan came and talked to him, kind of like God talked to Jesus, and he said, "Hey, you need to start your own church because you get me. You get me, man."
You get me, man.
So that's when he broke off and he started the Church of Set,
The Temple of Set.
Temple of Set.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, yeah, I just thought that was interesting that you have Turning Point USA, Paul Valley. Paul Valley was ex-military. Paul Valley was also with the PSYOPs, and he was also affiliated and
They wrote a book. Didn't they write a book?
Together with the Satanist.
I found some when we were...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
How long has Paul been on the board? Do you know? Does it say?
I didn't ask him. No, it didn't say.
Smart ass.
But, really it just comes down to, so Turning Point USA is supposed to be a very, very, very Christian. I mean, don't they have
Well, it makes you wonder why you have this gentleman who's affiliated with Michael Aquino, who is 100% a Satanist and who is working in the PSYOPs program. Now, in researching for the Franklin cover-up and looking at Michael Aquino, I mean, he did not hide it one bit. And he talked about the programs. He talked about the PSYOP programs. He said, he basically came out and said, everything that you read or hear is bullshit. It's all a PSYOP game. Everything's a game. Nothing you read or see is true. And he went on to say and admit that 9/11 was a PSYOP.
Oh, something else I didn't mention.
Basically. So, I mean, it's very interesting. And he, in our last case, in the Monarch Project and all of that, they did all these things to children. And I think that's where Candace is leading into. I mean, she hasn't come out and said it yet, but we're just putting all the pieces together of how these people are all connected. And it's not good.
No. And something else I thought was funny about this Paul is I'm kind of going through his, and I don't know that I have it up anymore. I don't think I do. I'm not going to try and find it. But if you go to his Wikipedia, he is a really, really big supporter, follower of QAnon.
Interesting.
So I just thought that was, anyways, if everybody's like, you guys are into your conspiracy theory. Well, there he is. There he is. And there he is. So
not to get into the whole Candace Owens thing, because, there's people that are with believing what Candace is saying and following her. And then there are others that are completely against her and think she's talking out of her ass and, whatever. We won't get in the whole Israel thing of it, but in previous episodes, she's mentioning the Egyptian planes and all of the planes that have followed certain people of TPUSA. But interestingly enough, and I don't know if this is connected or not, it's just maybe an interesting coincidence, but Set, when you talk about the Temple of Set, Set is an Egyptian god. Set is the god of chaos. And so it's just interesting that this Michael Aquino, his idol, is the Egyptian god Set, who is about chaos and evil and all of this. He names his satanic temple after this god. And it's just weird that you have all these Egyptian planes now and it's tied. Do you see where I'm going with this? Maybe it's a coincidence, but it's just weird.
Once again, these are all just questions.
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 It's weird coincidences that we might
have.
Up on?
Yep. Candace might have. People just have. So I know people are kind of picking on, and I'm sure people are going to pick on us for this podcast.
Sure.
But they're just, any time that somebody, especially as high profile as Charlie Kirk is, and he's assassinated, and the details that come out are few, and there seems to be holes, there's going to be questions.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think everybody needs to ask questions. I think they should ask questions whether it's Charlie Kirk. I think they should ask questions whether it's government. I think they should ask questions whether it's shady business practices. If nobody ever asks any questions, then people are just going to run amok
Yeah.
along with your government, and they're going to do what you want. And it's no longer going to be a republic or a democracy. And there goes your freedom. There's a reason we have a constitution with the freedom of speech listed as number one.
Mhm. Yeah, and, it's just interesting to me. I like mysteries. I like, you know, trying to put pieces of the puzzle together, and it her bringing up this whole Michael Aquino thing, and then also knowing that he did some of his PSYOP programs at Fort Huachuca, which was also mentioned. It's kind of a big blow up thing now,
Sure.
and to know that, okay, Fort Huachuca is known for intelligence and PSYOPs, it's just maybe a little too coincidental.
And we already covered a little bit on Michael Aquino as it relates to child trafficking and
Yeah.
within the Franklin, which is funny when you pointed out that she brought up even the Franklin. We're like, we just covered that.
I know. It's
So,
just a little bit weird how we just got done covering the Franklin cover-up. She happens to mention it
yeah.
in her episode today, and, you know, he's affiliated with these daycares. The Franklin cover-up is affiliated with a school for troubled boys or programs after-school programs for troubled kids.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, there'll be a lot of questions, and maybe in a few episodes, we'll get to explore some of those.
yeah,
So,
anyway.
anything you want to cover? I think that's probably it for this one.
Yeah, that'll be it for this one, and, yeah, it'll be interesting to see kinda where this goes and what we hear from here on out, but
All right. Well,
we might be onto something.
let's wrap it up.
You never know. Alright, adios.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.